Welcome back to Global Maritime News, the podcast, episode 19, which brings you the most impactful news reports and analysis across the global shipping and supply chain industry over the past week. I'm Levine, your host, and as of Wednesday, 25th of May, 5 p.m. Singapore time, these are the major stories. First up, Russian fuel exports to Greece have reached a new high in April as ship-to-ship transfers become more common. Next, bulk carrier Master faces life imprisonment in Australia after 320 kilograms of cocaine is found on board. Next, Glencore is to pay $1.1 billion in penalties for bribery and price manipulation cases in the US, UK, and Brazil. And rounding up this episode of the podcast is US ports anticipating an earlier peak season in the fall for American consumers. Starting off with our first story of the episode, Russian fuel exports for oil to Greece reached a new high in April last month, with ship-to-ship transfers becoming more common. This is because traders can still ship Russian goods or commodities into the European Union because the ban has not yet been signed. So according to a global provider of financial market data and infrastructure, Refinitiv, fuel oil shipments to Greece reached nearly 900,000 tons last month, which nearly doubles the March total, and a new record is expected for this month in May. According to Reuters, the majority of this involved cargo from Russian ports bound for the port of Kalamata in Greece, and according to traders, the fuel oil is stored and blended off the coast of Greece on tankers before being loaded onto other vessels for export elsewhere. This shows that though there are sanctions against Russian commodity exports, these sanctions can still be overcome through other ways. Moving on to our second story of today, a bulk carrier Master faces life imprisonment in Australia after 320 kilograms of cocaine has been found on board his ship. On Tuesday, the Australian Federal Police charged the master of a bulk carrier for his alleged role in his attempt to import 320 kilograms of cocaine into Australia. The Montenegrin national was arrested on the cargo ship, named as Interlink Veracity yesterday, and charged with importing a commercial quantity of border-controlled drugs. The maximum penalty for this offense is life in prison. The AFP arrested the man after a forensic examination of a mobile device seized from him last week allegedly revealed drug-related messages. Authorities seized the cocaine, estimated to be worth $100 million in Port Hedland on May 15th, and arrested two men they accused of collecting the plastic-wrapped drugs from the ocean off the Pilbara coast. This comes 2 weeks after the Australian police also investigated another bulker originating from Argentina, where they apprehended 50 kilograms of cocaine. And at the end of March this year as well, Australian police also arrested 4 crew members from a Cyprus-registered bulker while it was docked in Port Adelaide. The operation resulted in the recovery of 416 kilograms of cocaine, with a street value of more than $125 million, making it the largest drug bust in southern Australia. Moving on, Glencore is to pay $1.1 billion in penalties for bribery and price manipulation cases in the US, UK, and Brazil. The trading giant would be paying for settlement agreements that could lead it to pay over $1 billion in settlement agreements with officials in 3 countries on bribery charges and bunker fuel market manipulation charges. Bribery charges are focused in the UK, US, and Brazil, while fines are related to market manipulation in fuel oil transactions at the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles in the US. The bunker price manipulation case represents the U.S. Justice Department's largest criminal enforcement action to date for commodity price manipulation conspiracies in oil markets. For the bribery cases, this plea covers allegations that the company bribed public officials in 7 countries. And moving over to our last story of today, U.S. ports are anticipating an earlier peak shipping season in the fall for American consumers. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, the peak shipping season is expected to begin a few weeks earlier as shippers are trying to avoid the risk of delays for the fall shopping season. The vessel backlogs at the heart of U.S. supply chain congestion have receded in some places, but have resurfaced in others, including East Coast ports, while other issues that have rippled across logistics networks have persisted. The warehouses are completely full, and trucking companies and railroads are both understaffed and under-equipped. And both container yards are clogged with hundreds of thousands of containers. After more than a year of juggling clogged docks, vessel backups, and record import volumes, officials at key port gateways say that they are prepared to deal with the impending import surge. Ports note that they have revamped operations to better deal with congestion before it becomes a problem. They have extended their operating hours to accommodate more containers, and they have set up pop-up container yards to house overflow boxes. According to port officials, there's better and more frequent communication across the supply chain between ocean shipping lines, retailers, truckers, warehouses, and third-party logistics operators so that they can anticipate and respond to cargo needs even better. But despite those assurances, shipping customers are still cautious and bracing for additional delays. And as such, they're trying to preempt these risk of delays by beginning their shipments earlier, which will bring forward the peak shipping season by a few weeks. And that is all for now. If you want to comment on this podcast and the topics we have covered, you can send us an email. The address is maritimenewspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Global Maritime News. I'm Levine Tan, your host, and until next time, goodbye.